Dear all, welcome to this new episode of the Catia TV. This time we will focus on the topic of Catia for Naval Architects. Catia for Naval Architect provide integrated boat hull form, design and compartment position with first hydrostatics assessments. Catia for Naval Architects is a unified solution for better design workflow from sketch, concept modeling to validated hull forms and renderings. It provides integrated boat hull form design and compartment position with advanced shape design for best quality optimization and first hydrostatics assessment. It optimizes the surface quality, provides better inputs for the downstream engineering process and a faster transition. Hydrostatic simulation also allow to assess at a glance the boat performance in a seamless simulation process. With our subject matter expert Daniel Dressemann, you will discover a complete review of Catia for Naval Architect. As usual, the Catia TV webinar will be held here, in the post where you are right now, in our Catia user community, and it will give you the capacity to interact in live with our subject matter expert throughout the chat. So don't hesitate to watch, rewatch the webinar, and we wish you a very good day.
So hello everyone, welcome to this webinar on Catia Naval Architect new role that we released last year on 21X FD02 release on the cloud, and which is now available for everybody. My name is Laurent Garza. I'm the portfolio manager in Catia design team in charge of the Naval Architect industry. And I will be presenting today with Daniel Dressemann and Pierre Rudel, our portfolio specialist, for the detail of this new role. Okay, so straight into the point, why we wanted to deliver such a role on the 3D Experience platform for Catia is that for the first time you will be able to design your hull directly in an application with various geometrical strategy that we will see in detail later on. But at any stage of the design of your hull, you will be able to validate the hydrostatics criteria, which allows you to do very short loops and short iteration, and that's the whole point of this new role value. Okay. Just a word on the offer that you will get for marine and offshore industry on the market. You know that with the 3D experience, we now deliver industry solution experience, and for various segments that you can see on the right of on the slide here, for big boats, leisure boats, yachts, etc. Basically, you will retrieve the Naval Architect capability in two industry solutions, which are winning bid for sea, that we will see in detail just after, and also build for sea. Okay, so what does it mean? It means winning bid for sea that you see on screen here is made of several industry processes. Okay, so Naval Architecture referential is the first one where you will get for sure the role Naval Architect. Then as a second process, you will do a general arrangement, your system concept, your marine concept performances checks, and of course weight and balance and showcase. Okay, and so these are the 6 main industry process for winning bid for sea, and Naval Architecture is the very first one for sure, as it is very structuring for the whole work. What will you do? You will define and manage the ship main reference, of course, for the external shape, including the hull, of course. Check the performance of the hull, the very first one, hydrostatics, as I mentioned. And you will be able already to define some spaces, compartmenting, okay, with basic capabilities we offer in this role. Concerning Seaboat Builder, so here I won't go into detail, but you have the 7 industry processes, which are not exactly in the same order than for the previous solution. But here in the boat modeling industry process that you will have in 3rd position here, basically you will also have the need to validate your hull and to design it. Okay, so in this industry process, basically you will be able to design from 2D or 3D some sketch design. Okay, and of course you will have a lot of tools, various tools that we will also see in demonstration with Pierre to validate and create new shapes for your hub. Okay. So the objective is more here to define some alternatives of designs, where in the previous solution it was more to validate the performances. Okay, but both capabilities are given by the role. So now I propose to let the hand to Daniel so that he explains to you more in detail the two roles we have in the industry process naval architecture, and let's go straight to the demonstration afterward.
Okay, thanks Laurent for handing over to me. So we are getting into what is the naval architecture referential about and what does it contain. So first of all, it contains our entry role boat modeler. Then this is for dedicated for the people who are doing the basic shaping, some fundamental features like designing a mast or any equipment. If you want to go further and want to do a little bit more, you go for the naval architect role. So that means you are able to do hydrostatic assessment, and that is then the more advanced tool. Okay, let's have a look at the benefits and highlights of Naval Architect. First of all, we want to have a look at the overall ID card. So what is Naval Architect about? First of all, as Laurent mentioned it, we introduced it within FD02 on 21X, and it became available for the on-premise users with FD03. So Naval Architect is about the ModSim approach, so modeling and simulation at the same time. We've put that into two industry solution experiences. One is the Winning Bid for Sea, and the other one is Build for Sea, or Seaboard Builder is it called. And in there are two processes. Laurent already mentioned that. It's the Naval Architecture Referential and Boat Modeling. So we are highlighting here some applications. The newest application, or the new application, is Hullform Modeling. This is the core feature app, and I will go into more details about that just in a few seconds. Then we have the shape modeling tools, so new ways of shaping with Imagine and Shape. We have shape healing, which is important to do if you have integrated shape hulls from different software. And then we have as well the space allocation applications, which is very important if you do your compartment layouts or stuff like that. And in a very early stage, it is always important to communicate via realistic renderings. So we've packaged live rendering into there. Here's an overview about all the apps, which includes in the Naval Architect role. So we have a couple of more shaping tools or modeling tools in there, which allows you to do specific tools, specific use cases. We also package some suppliers for packaged in applications for suppliers like converters to convert, as I mentioned, hulls from a legacy software or different or competitor software. We have data organization, IP capture roles, and of course collaboration roles, which is important to work as best as possible together with your colleagues. Furthermore, we have packaged human design into everything, into that, which could be very important if you are doing your compartment layout and you want to modeling along a human context. So in terms of height, in terms of space and stuff like that. So it could be really nice here. Now let's jump into the details of our new application, Hullform Modeling, and what values can you expect from that. So first of all, I have to say that if you're an experienced Catia user, you will recognize a lot of features from our legacy apps or former apps. So starting in the surfacing or in the creation part, you're starting on the wireframing. And here I'd like to mention the 3D curves. which are very important to do sophisticated and good shapes. Moving on, as I just said, making shapes, creating the best-in-class surfaces, we are having a couple of tools available for you, like extrude, sweep, fill, or a little bit more complex one than like the blend tool, the multi-section surfaces tool, or even patches from patches. If we are looking at the shape healing processes, healing patches from to each other to provide the best surface quality in the end for the downstream process, we have also packaged those into the Naval Architect role and the hull form modeling application. To validate that the surface is quite well in the end, we have put a lot of analyzing tools like the highlighting tool, the curvature porcupine tool into that, or the matching constraint. Our newest role, or our newest applications, are the intact hydrostatic analysis and the section area curves. So those are the new commands which allows you to do the hydrostatic features, hydrostatic simulations, meaning you get the first impression on the equilibrium position, you get first ideas about the buoyancy, the metacenter, or if you do the section area curve, you get a good understanding about your performance of the ship hull. So let's not talk about everything in theoretic. Let's have a look how this looks like in action. And for that, I will hand over to Pierre, who will show you the 3D experience and the hull form modeling application in live.
Thank you, Daniel. Here is a video to introduce some tools you will find in the Naval Architect role. The video is divided in 4 parts. In the first part, we see how to create a hull from scratch. So you can see here the user drawing the very first basic shape of the hull. He is using a profile sketch with some parameters to be able to generate different configuration afterwards. And so here you can see in 2 seconds the design table with the different parameters. You can switch from a configuration to another one by just a click. And you can also enjoy all the surface analysis tool you have in Catia in order to have the best surface quality possible. So now if you import both hull from a competitor software, you will be able to fix all the defects you have on the hull thanks to the shape healing app. So for instance, here the user is dealing with the gaps between the surfaces using the match constraint feature. And he is applying G1 continuity, so tangency continuity along the hull. It is very important to have no gaps and have a closed and watertight surface for the hydrostatic analysis. Otherwise, we won't be able to run the analysis. So here the user is joining all the surface together. Like I said, to have a closed surface and to be able to apply, to do a symmetry of the hull. Okay, so he's doing the symmetry and he is closing the shape. So now the user is running the analysis, the hydrostatic analysis. This gives him very important information such as buoyancy or displacement. And as you can see, he can directly share those results through a dashboard. And now he is running a static stability analysis, which simulate how the ship would behave on the sea and when it would capsize. So now the user is calculating the section area curve that gives valuable information and needed information for the captain of the ship. And it is very easy to switch from a configuration to another one. As you see the design table, it can have the results very easily for all those configurations and compare them into a dashboard. So now this is the last part of the video about the space allocation. You can see the user using the cutting elements to divide the space of the vessel into different compartments and different decks. The user is also able to use the very easy sketching tool you have in Catia in order to draw the compartment on a layout. So he will use this sketching tool. It is very easy to define the space thanks to this tool. And once you have defined the different volume, you can allocate a purpose to each of these volumes. And once you have done that, you will have a nice and colorful representation of your ship. And if you do the job for all the ship, it will be very easy to understand where is what, and you will have a nice view on your architecture of your ship. So, in order to sum up, just to sum up, we have seen in the first part that we have created the best-in-class surfaces from scratch. Then we've seen that the Naval Architect role provide a large toolset to heal and optimize the hull form from different external software. We've seen that the role minimize the time in validation process by using the first time basic hydrostatic analysis, and we can allocate space of the hull form to directly define the compartment layout. So now let's have a look on the Imagine and Shape approach. So the Imagine and Shape approach is very different from the first one we've seen in the first video with the profile sketch. Here, the user will draw the first section of the boat using some imported pictures or blueprints or even drawings. So you can see here on the screen the user drawing the first section, and he is doing this for different sections, and he makes sure that the geometry is fitting the drawings. And once he has a different section, he is able to blend these sections together to give birth to the entire hull. So he is blending the surface together and adjusting the geometry to fit his expectation. He can also assess the surface, the quality of the surface very easily. And now he's doing the symmetry in order to have a closed and watertight shape, like I said, to be able to run an hydrostatic analysis. So the first hydrostatic analysis shows that the boat hull is a little bit too high, so he will use the transformation available in Imagine and Shape to squeeze the boat hull a little bit, a little bit. And now he's running again the hydrostatic analysis, and it shows that he make it worse. So he decided to make the boat hull a little bit smaller. And now the result seems to be satisfying. So we can directly generate the section area curve and use it into a dashboard.
Okay, let's summarize all the values, what we have seen. So first of all, we should mention the ModSim approach, so modeling and simulation at the same time. You can model either in half-form modeling or in the new way in imagined shape and easily do your first hydrostatic assessment. Then we are supporting the downstream process. So we can import hull forms from different software and clean them up for the rest of the process. We can do then afterwards as well the hydrostatic assessment. And we can look at the holistic approach, doing everything from scratch to the last part. So meaning the hull form, doing the best shapes as possible, and then moving into that we really can do the first compartment layout and see does our compartment layout fit into our hull form in the end. And furthermore, we can do realistic renderings. Yeah, let's summarize again when you can access the Naval Architect role. It is already available on the cloud. It was released within 21x FD02 and on premise with an FD03. We are featuring a couple of roles we've introduced to right away. So that was the hydrostatic validation, all the Catia surface quality, which is very important for that process, realistic rendering, and, as I said, the ModSim approach. It is available through 2 IPEs, Industry Process Experiences. One is the Naval Architecture Referential, and the other one is the boat modeling. Yes, and let's just have a look on the community where you can find more information if you want, and you can access this, and you will see that we will post a lot of things on that, so we will keep you up to date on that. I think we are now starting the Q&A session, and thank you for your attention, and see you soon.